Hey folks, Paul Essery here. I'm delighted today to be with Charlie Cadbury from Say It Now. Charlie, thanks for taking a bit of time out from your schedule. And I know you're super busy. You've got a sick daughter that you've got to look after as well. So I appreciate you taking a bit of time to come and talk to us. You've got 101 other things that are probably more important than this. But anyway, just for the folks that might be listening, I mean, tell people a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the business. Then we'll kind of talk about the technology in a second.
Yeah, sure. So, Charlie Cadbury, I've been a career technologist. So I started selling websites for other people in 1999. Then in 2005, I set up a software business. First off, selling websites. Then we moved to sell Facebook applications. Then started building apps from 2008. So Android and iOS apps. So I started that with one friend of mine, and then we grew that to a 45-person team. So over the next 7 years, we delivered about 350 digital products.
Wow.
So these are apps, websites, Facebook applications to kind of top tier advertising agencies and brands. So everyone from kind of BBC to Durex to Boeing. And so I oversaw kind of everything from the kind of contract to code and the delivery of all of those. And so in order to deliver that 350 projects, probably I've got about 1,200 briefs across my desk of, what can we do with these rising technologies and interfaces? And so over the last 8 or 9 years since 2015, I've been concentrating specifically and exclusively in the world of voice and conversation as an interface. So we started off just looking at chatbots and now grown to, 8 years deep working with Alexa. I now run a business called Say It Now, which helps top tier brands build, craft these very engaging conversations within these conversational environments, and truly believe that this is the next way that we will all access the internet. It's a fun and exciting time.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, tell us about, I mean, talking to things seems to me to be a great proposition. I mean, we all like to talk to stuff, don't we? So, I mean, tell us about a bit about the technology, but more importantly, tell us how it changes things for, the kind of clients and the people that might use the technology. I mean, just tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. So look, so the Alexa kind of launched in 2014, and to date there's been about 500 million of these devices sold in the world. In the terms of kind of the fabric to work against, about 60% of UK homes have a smart speaker, 90 million US homes have a smart speaker, about 80 odd percent of those are Alexa devices. And so we wanted to look at this interface not in terms of using technology for technology's sake, but really understand, what consumer behavior exists and then how we can use that behavior to solve real business challenges. And so what people tend to do with their smart speakers is listen to streaming audio and ask questions.
Yeah.
And so then pushing over to kind of top tier advertisers, people love audio. Audio is an amazing medium. It's one of the first places to, wireless is one of the first places to have
Yeah.
advertising in at a kind of real scale, and people know that it works. Your ears are your only sensory organ that you can't turn off. You can close your eyes and not look at a screen, but you can't close your ears and not hear the radio. So it's an incredibly powerful medium. However, people spend about 30% of their media consumption time in audio, but only about 8% of advertising dollars go into audio advertising. And the reason that there's this disparity is because there's no engaging ad formats or real-time information in the world of audio. And so we sought to solve that by we launched a product called Actionable Audio Ads in 2020.
Yeah.
So, clients like, we're currently running with Boots Opticians, Tesco Mobile, Domino's. So imagine you're listening to the radio at home, listening to Classic FM, Heart FM on your smart speaker. And about half of all digital audio streams right now are listened to on smart speakers. So there's a huge footprint. About 13 million people a week listen to radio on smart speaker. And you're listening to radio, and the ads come on, standard ads as they always do. And one of them says, "Tonight's pizza night. I'd love to give you 50% off your pizza tonight. To get your coupon, just say Alexa, open Domino's." You then say, "Alexa, open Domino's." Have a 2 or 3 turn conversation, ending up with you being sent a link to get a 50% off your Domino's that night, and then you continue listening to the radio. So it's a really seamless user experience for you to take advantage of that offer. But what's really powerful for the brand is that they've been advertising on the radio for years and years and years. And the way that they measure that is after the campaign, they have a post-campaign analysis and they look and see what they can learn from that campaign. And then they take those learnings through to their next campaign. And then they can probably get kind of 3 or 4 of those kind of feedback loops a year. But what we can do is they can now log into our data studio. We can say exactly when each of these ads have been served and exactly which publisher they've been served against. So how many have been served against XFM, how many on Spotify, how many on Amazon Music, how many on Classic FM, etc., etc. Then also what time of day people are engaging with that message. So at the end of week 1, they can say actually Heart FM on a Tuesday morning isn't performing very well, but Classic FM on a Thursday evening is performing exceptionally well. So if they're spending, say, £20,000 a week on buying advertising space, then the first week they can take the learnings, move that to the second week, move the allocation around. So upweight Classic on a Thursday, downweight Heart on a Tuesday. Then they can see empirically that they get a better result in week 2 than week 1 by spending the exact same advertising spend. So that's how, it's a seamless, frictionless engagement from a consumer perspective, but adds real value to the brand because they're making the same spend, but actually making it work harder.
I mean, it enables them to focus their expenditure on stuff that has a better return, doesn't it? And I mean, I'm obviously biased because I like radio, and it's part of my family's history. My father was really into radio. I've been into radio my entire life, and it strikes me as I mean, it's interesting your point about that it's quite an underutilized medium in terms of this sort of stuff. So why, I mean, the bit I'm trying to get at, so I'm not saying this very clearly, but the bit I'm trying to get at is why is that better for the customer, the listener? Tell us why that makes a difference to the listener.
Because it's been relatively hard for the listener to
Yeah.
engage frictionlessly with the things they've heard before. So, for example, I wanted to. We had a really great campaign for MSC cruises, right? So come away, get on the sea, and it was
Yeah.
around just after COVID, like get back out there. And it was a wonderful audio ads, and it played the sound of the sea. It said, come back out and find out more. To request a callback or ask for a brochure, just say Alexa, open MSC cruises. Now, historically, if I'd have wanted to engage with that and it wasn't an actionable ad that you could use your voice to engage with, I'd have heard that ad. I'd have had to find my phone, unlock my phone, open up a browser, tap in MSC Cruises, navigate past the P&O sponsored ad links, and then find where that offer was. And that would have taken me a bit of time. And it's kind of 2, 3, 4, 5 steps to get to what I actually want to do, that moment of inspiration. Whereas using your voice, it's in the moment, it's frictionless, it's permissive. So I've chosen to engage in this way, and very quickly I get inspired in that moment. And so from the advertiser's perspective, it's all about creating that moment of inspiration and then reducing any kind of friction to engage with that. And so the way we've been working, obviously, we worked with Amazon for many years, and they're very, very good at making it easy for you to buy stuff and to do things. The way that they do that is they look at the cognitive load. So if you think of the amount of brain power required to do anything, if you can lower that at every step, then you're more likely to do things. And it's far easier for you to be chopping up your carrots in your kitchen, or giving your kids tea and say Alexa, open the MSC cruises, than it is for you to stop what you're doing and then engage in a different medium by pick up your phone.
I mean, it's so interesting you say that because I quite often hear stuff on the radio. I think, well, that's interesting, and then by the time but 5 minutes later, I've forgotten to go and track it down using my phone or on my laptop or whatever because I just forget because I'm too busy doing other things. But what you're saying is you can almost do it instantly, can't you? You can just oh yeah, I'll follow up on that right now, which
Well,
seems to me. I mean, I'm a great believer. If you want people to do stuff, make it easy for them.
Well, this is it, and there's a whole lot of power in that. The reason that we are building a relationship right now is because we're having a conversation,
Yeah.
and there's no better way to build a trusted relationship with an individual than by having a conversation. And this is now the technology to allow people to do that at absolute at scale.
Yeah. So, I mean, a brilliant proposition. I mean, I just think I love it. I think it's just great. I mean, but it's quite complicated, I guess, technically. I mean, tell us about the kind of challenges. I know, and I know you've been on a bit of a journey to get here. Tell us about some of the challenges that you've had to overcome to get to where you are now.
Uh, we started too early. or we started at exactly the right time, and this is the path we're meant to be on. So there's a couple of ways to kind of look at the journey, but it hasn't been plain sailing. So we started the business in 2019. That year we won the Alexa Cup, which is a global competition looking for practitioners like us that were able to show that we could actually take advantage of the Alexa platform. That was a really great kind of boost in kind of ego and access to Amazon and their engineers, their platform. They give us early access to a whole lot of stuff and lots of visibility of their roadmap. And we used that story to raise our first round of funding. But we were closing that around March 2020, and half of the people that we were looking to get in to invest in the business pulled out because there was a lot of uncertainty in March 2020, and so we then had to kind of radically adjust our plans. But then we were lucky to get hold of a grant from Innovate UK, specifically to test this actual ad proposition with a whole load of charities. So we ran charity campaigns for NSPCC, for Crisis, for Macmillan, for Comic Relief, and for WWF, and we managed to do a media partnership with Global Media, which is the biggest radio group in Europe. They were very supportive in testing this out, and it was actually that suite of campaigns. They give us a huge amount of access to inventory just to get some learnings and to be the first in market. We wrote some white papers for that, and that helped kind of establish a footprint which we could then commercialize. And so we thought, great, we're off to the races. We can go and knock on the doors of all the networked agency groups and get access to all of their radio campaigns, and they'll all want to work with us in 2021. But in reality, it took a good 18 months to get all those contracts away, those kind of trading agreements agreed, and then there's a huge amount of work to educate the market to to show that this is an easier way to do things. It was so clear to us because we were so close to the problem. Or the opportunity, and so we then had to do a huge amount of education of the market, which is still ongoing. We still walk into rooms day in, day out, and explain this proposition. People are like, oh, I've never heard of this before. This sounds amazing. I'll see what I can do to get it on the plan for my customers. But we were then the way that we'd kind of built the business. So my business partner is an excellent product guy. So he'd been working through party poker, party gaming, the noughties, building out kind of highly available, high frequency transactional systems for gaming until that all got regulated. And so then he moved over to the Royal Bank of Scotland. He was there, had a mobile for 5 years there, and then we went on this journey together. So he's very strong. But the way that we built the proposition was to test the market first and prove that we could validate our go-to-market. But we hadn't built a layer of tech to make it more efficient to launch these campaigns. So then in July 21, we were introduced to a guy called Norbert Horvath, which is a multi-exited ads tech founder who's based out in Canada, been working across the US for the last 20 years. And he'd built the tech, but had yet to validate the go-to-market for exactly the same problem space. And so, within 100 days of meeting him, we'd managed to acquire his business, bring his tech team and his tech platform into Say It Now. He then joined as our third co-founder, and after a whole lot of kind of due diligence and chemistry and all of this, the last bit of which was inviting him to my house to meet my family and my next door neighbours, and make sure that I passed the sniff test with all those guys. And that works well. And the way that Norbert then describes us is me as the CEO is the why, Sander as the CPO, the chief product guy, is the how, is the what, and then Norbert as the CTO is the how. So the three of us kind of frame each one of our meetings with those kind of hats.
Cool. I mean,
but yeah, so and then I think
it sounds really
the
exciting.
last couple, and then I suppose it is, and the last year, I think, last 18 months or so, we've been running through a whole host of kind of top tier brands, the host of top tier brands from kind of EasyJet, Just Eat, Tesco's, many more, and now they're all coming back and they're rebooking. This is turning from innovation to business as usual, and as the leaders kind of jump onto this opportunity, we then get a whole lot of FOMO in market, fast follows, and this becomes best practice. This is the way we're heading.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I mean, I'm biased towards radio because I mean, I think it's great, but I think it's a great proposition. I mean, you've come a long way. You've got a fantastic proposition. Tell us about where you're going. I mean, let's say medium to long term, 5 to 10 years out. What are your ambitions for the business? What's the direction of travel? What is it you want to achieve?
Cool. So let's just layer this year next year. So we've last year we launched our CTV proposition. So you can be sat in your living room watching the TV. One of those ads comes on. You probably have a smart speaker within earshot, so you can engage using your voice with TV ads. So this is not limited to audio, TV, and actually, even we're just testing with we're just testing leaflets that's dropped through your letterbox, so you can engage with leaflets using your voice. So as I pick up a leaflet on my doormat and take it to the recycling, I pass my smart speaker. If it gives me another chance to engage, I can do that as well. So our
Yeah.
ultimate game is to make it possible to engage with any advertising message using your voice. So in the kind of medium long term, we're launching a self-serve platform. So, if I want to do email marketing, I have a subscription to MailChimp. If I want to do web-based marketing, I have a subscription to WordPress. If I want to do voice-based marketing, I'll get a subscription to Say It Now Studio. If you hark back to when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, my mother was a chartered accountant. She had a small chartered accountant's practice in Cheltenham, and she was always looking for more customers. But what she'd never thought of was the idea of running radio or TV ads. But what we would allow, and what we're allowing with Say It Now Studio, is the ability to, we're kind of an applied AI business. So we use kind of best of breed AI models within our workflow. So you can programmatically or very quickly within 10 seconds create an audio ad or a TV ad that can help sell your service. You can then create the voice engagement piece with that as well. You can then buy hyper local audio and TV ads. So I can choose to spend £5,000 within a certain postcode to run for the month. I can run those ads, and my next door neighbours will see that ad on the TV, and they'll hear it on the radio, and they then get the reporting that that's worked, and that would deliver leads into my business. So what we're looking to do with that is unlock a whole load of SME spend. So people who have not ever spent before in TV and audio, but because we can now deliver it as a hyper-local advertising method, which is proven measurable to deliver leads in this way, then there's a huge opportunity there.
I mean, you can see it opens the door to, I mean, I'm thinking off the top of my head here, a small company that does gardening around an area. I mean, it opens the opportunity to use that media, which they probably would never have done before, to communicate with people locally. I mean, it sounds fantastic.
Exactly, and that's all available today, and it's rising the ability to buy hyper targeted local audiences. But across TV and audio, it's challenging for the SME if they can't measure the efficacy of that spend, because it means a lot to them. If I was running a gardening business, I'd £5,000 a month would be a lot to me. But if I could prove that it's delivering £10,000 worth of leads, I'd run it all year.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
probably just the summer. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not in the
Well,
gardening
either
game.
way, it's a great proposition.
Yeah.
So, well done. I mean, I mean, like I said, I'm biased because I love radio and audio. I mean, I just think it's great. So, well done on that, and good luck going forward. And I mean, it'd be very interesting. Come back in a year or two and let us know how you got on. It'll probably be everywhere when you come
Well,
back. It's
the thing
such
is,
a,
like, I could probably, send someone else back on my behalf who I have built, right? So what's happening with this whole technology right now? You've probably seen the rise of kind of OpenAI and ChatGPT. You can chat to these, and it comes back with very compelling conversations. Now, that's still very much in its infancy, but that thinking, that new kind of wave of technology, is what's going to power the next generation of voice assistants. So you might have had a clunky experience with Alexa or Siri or Google Assistant up to now, but they're all having a massive facelift. So within the next couple of years, you're going to start having longer and more expansive conversations, and you're going to move from your mobile as your primary access point to all the information and services you get from the internet to a voice assistant, because it's easier for you to do. You talk at 150 words a minute, but you can only tap into your Black Mirror at about 50 words a minute. And so as that then happens, then part of what we're building out is the ability to create these more longer form conversational agents which only talk in a brand compliant way. Because the important thing is, if you're representing representing a brand or a business, you need to make sure that you only work within the framework of what that brand and business
Yeah.
stands for and wants to say. And so there's a whole load of work in order to make these conversations brand safe. But if you can, then back to my original point of, conversation being such a powerful communication method, then
Yeah,
voice marketing
it's
is
how we
the way
naturally
forward.
communicate, isn't it? It's
Exactly.
absolutely critical. So, well, I mean, like I said, good luck going forward. I mean, I think it's a great proposition, and thanks for coming on. And come back in a couple of years and let us know how it's playing out, because it's a really interesting story, I think.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you.
Fantastic. Cheers, Charlie. Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye.